Bonjour mes amis, et bienvenue au Pendu dans la Lune. Hello friends, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you surely know that this is my series in which I use Tarot de Marseille or antique Italian decks to help me answer a question that I pull from my larger spread for the week. And generally that larger spread is mostly a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck system with oracle cards. And so I do that every week, and then from that reading I pull a question. And this week's spread, if you haven't seen it yet, I'll put a card up here for you to hop over and take a look at that spread and that reading, because it's called Parthenogenesis. And that was my word for that for the week, for that spread, was Parthenogenesis. If you don't know what that means, it's when an animal, well, a living being, I should say, because it goes for plants, it goes for many creatures, but also vertebrates, animals with spines as well. Fish, for example, also mammals. I think there's a mammal, yes, where without a mate, without any partner from outside, a living being can fertilize their own eggs or their own cells and germinate or create another living being. That's called parthenogenesis, creation with oneself. Now, for that spread, we're talking about our own creations, the creations of relationships, of things we want to do and experience and be in the world. That kind of parthenogenesis. Without the influence or the help or inspiration from the exterior world, from people, from experiences, from the environment, and interior and internal creation. So that spread was about parthenogenesis. And again, there was a card up there for you to hop over and take a look at it, because I think it was a very deep, meaningful, and opening spread. Even though it showed a lot of shadow, it was an opening spread. And so, my question that I wanted to pull out of that spread is, so yeah, we've got this idea of parthenogenesis, but how do we know? How can we know when it's time to do it alone? How can we know when we aren't just closing off because we're not being open or we're not living an intentional life? When do we know when we are living as openly as we possibly can, and yet it is still time for us to do a parthenogenic creation, to create parthenogenically, to create within ourselves? How do we know? And so, I decided before I shuffled my cards, I'll show you the spread in just a moment. I decided before I shuffled my cards that I was going to be sure and do a very careful line of sight reading for this spread. What does that mean? When people are facing a direction, I was going to read in that direction of line of sight, and if a person in the card was looking outside of the spread, I would pull an extra card to see what they are looking at, to see where their focus is going. Now that's one way to read Tarot de Marseille, organic spreads. So what I decided to do that when I was shuffling my cards. And so, let me show you those cards. This is a beautiful, beautiful deck, isn't it? Now, this is a modern redrawing by Lili Stone, but it is a redrawing of a Nicholas Conver deck. So this is a Tarot de Marseille deck, just redrawn, and the color palette of this is just gorgeous. It's beautiful. She's got this one, and she's also got redrawing of the Visconti Sforza deck, which is also incredibly beautiful and I love using. So, if you want information about this deck and you're interested in buying it, I'll have a link in the description box below. So again, I showed you the question, how can we know when it's time to do it alone, when it's time for Parthenogenesis? And then I got these 3 cards. And you noticed that there was that central 4 of discs, coins card. And on either side, very interestingly, there were both the King and Queen of Cups. Very, very interesting thing to happen. But you also noticed that the Queen was looking outside. Now, the Queen and King are not looking at each other. They're looking both outside of the spread. So I decided to pull another card for the Queen. And I came up with this. So you just saw, I pulled that extra card for the Queen. It was the Hermit. And the Hermit is doing what? The Hermit is also looking off to the left. So what did I do? I pulled another card. Let me show you that. Okay, so now we got 5 cards on the table, right? From right to left, we have the King of Cups, the 4 of Pentacles, the 4 of Coins, the Queen of Cups, the Hermit, and the Lover card, which is interesting because the Lover card was very important for the first reading, the weekly reading. The Lover card came up twice, in a sense. There was the Lover card in the central column of tarot cards, and then in the right-hand column of the left-hand column of the tarot cards, there was the 2 of Cups, which is also another love card, right? So the Lover card showing up here was wonderful. And all these cups are very interesting. But I still had the King of Cups looking off to the right. What is he looking at? So I pulled another card, and this is what I got. Yes, the King was looking at the Sun. This is, so we have how many cards? We have, from left to right, we had the lovers, not the lovers. In Stone Marseille, usually it's the lover. Then we had the Hermit. And then we had the Queen of Cups. And then we had the 4 of Coins or discs. And then we had the King of Cups. And then we had the Sun. Here comes the Sun. Da, 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 da. So, a much more massive spread than I am usually do for this shorter video series. But this seemed to be the way the cards wanted to be read. So here we go. And so how am I going to read this spread? Now, we saw the initial 3 card that I laid. We had, again, the Queen of Cups, the King of Cups, with the coins between. So one is looking this way, one is looking this way, and in the center we have the 4 of coins. So to me, that says that this is where we begin this spread. Now we begin this reading here, and then we can see how that moves forward with the King, how that moves forward with the Queen. And yes, the Queen is looking to the left, and yes, a lot of people will read that as the past, but for me, no, it's not the past. Really, it's going to be where she is looking. The Queen moves in the direction of the Hermit and then the Lover. The King moves in the direction of the Sun. Get it? Got it? Good. Okay, so let's start with the 4 of Coins. Beautiful card. Beautiful card. Beautiful. I love this navy blue background in this deck. I just showed you the Hermit instead of the 4 of Coins, but here we go. I love the navy in this deck. I love the cleanliness, how clean the lines are, how bold the colors are. It's just a lovely deck. I love it, love it, love it. So, okay. 4 of Coins is the center. I'll keep these here. What is that? Stability. Home and health. a space whose working order is assured, not letting things stagnate. It's stable but not stagnant. And it's secure, it's sure. The territory is safe, secure, but there's also movement within. Yeah, it's not like it's rock solid in the sense that it's not going to grow or evolve or be alive. If things stop moving and growing, they start to die. That's not the Four of Coins. It's that stability. Things are stable, but they're not stagnant. Yet, they're not stagnant. They could become stagnant in the future, but now they're not stagnant. They're stable. So creating and maintaining security. So how can we know when it's time to do it alone? We start there. If we're not feeling that stability, the safety of home and health and territory and emotion even, when we're not feeling our physical safety and stability, that's not the time to start doing it alone. If we're feeling like the Five of Coins that came up in the larger reading this week, that's not the time to do it alone. If we're feeling deprived, if we're feeling lackful mindset, that's not the time to start Parthenogenesis, to start creating from within. That's our first thing, to get our, as Abraham Maslow says, our base needs met before we can go into the existential needs. Now we need the physical needs met first. So we start there. And then we can go in one of two directions. If we can move in, let's go to the right first, because that's the easier side of the spread, I think. If we can move from our stability right into the King of Cups, we're good. Now, King of Cups, wisdom from deep within, from our inner knowledge. The King's Cup is open, right? The King's not looking at their emotions so much, but the cup of emotion and internal wisdom is stable in their hand, open. Their hat is up. They can see into the future. So compassion, big-hearted, enjoying living. If we can move from that stability into the joy of living, into serenity also. It's not like joy of leaping over mountains like the fool, but stable, serene, mastered emotions, that pure joy of enlightenment. If you can move into optimism and having an open view with prudence, we're not being stupid, open view, optimistic, but prudent. We're kings, yeah, we're managers. We know what to do and we know what not to do. We can see the course. And we can work in the world with a loving vision, a vision of love and appreciation, working with other people here. If we can do all of that, that's a big task, right? That's a big expectation. If we can do that, if we can move directly into our King of Cupsness, whether we are male beings, female beings, or non-binary beings, or trans beings, or cis beings, or whatever we are all Kings of Cups. And if we can move into that, then we can move directly in the direction of the sun. Here comes the sun, which is what? Joy, power, motivation, success, determination, but not the determination of I'm determined to climb up this mountain, which is painful and burdensome, not that kind of determination. The determination of I am joyful and I feel successful and I'm determined to keep moving in the direction of my powerful current of intention. Have you felt that before? It's a wonderful feeling, isn't it? That's the sun. That is the sun. Also, mutual aid. Now the sun, it's not one person alone, right? It's two people at least. Here we have two people doing it together. Sometimes doing it together, but working together, enjoying together, experiencing together, creating together, enjoying human touch. There's an idea of breaking with the past here too, but in order to build something more. So if we can move from the Four of Coins into the King of Cups, maybe we actually don't have to do it alone. Now we move directly into relationship. Maybe first that Four of Coins moment is the doing it alone bit. And then we can directly move out of that into relationship with others, into emotional relationship with others, into sharing our wisdom that we've established with the Four of Coins. A very short journey. So that doing it alone might be just in that Four of Coins part as we move, if we are able to move into the King of Cups and then the Sun. However, there's another path that we might take, that we might want to take, or that we might not be able to move into the King of Cups right away. But we might be able to move into the Queen of Cups, which is a wonderful card, but different. Now the Queen of Cups, let me pull her out. Where is she? Where are you, Queenie? And again, we are all queens in many more ways than one, yeah? Male bodies, female bodies, trans bodies, cis bodies, non-binary bodies, whatever. We're all queens of cups. Sorry, wands, not wands, cups. So, but first we start with that stability. We start with the Four of Coins. And then maybe we're not able to move towards the king, but we move into the queen. And this queen, you see, her cup is covered. She's got a banner, or she's got cloth covering her above and hanging down in front of her a bit. She's protected. She's got her wand of power. She's got her own power manifested, which she reclaimed perhaps in the Four of Coins. And she's the Queen of Cups. She's compassionate. She's calm. She offers comfort. She has a rich inner world, but it's also a bit of a hidden world. She guards her privacy a bit. She's not the open cup of the king. She's a little bit reserved. She's attentive to emotions. Now she's aware of the emotions of her environment, but she's even more aware of her own emotions and the fodder that they provide for her creativity. She's determined to defend her feelings as well. I mean, she owns her feelings, and nobody is going to say that her feelings are wrong or inappropriate or imagined. Has anybody ever told you that? You're too sensitive, you're just imagining it. She won't take none of that shit. She knows now, she may also realize that she may have misinterpreted things, but that doesn't mean that her emotions are wrong. Her emotions are what her emotions are. And she defends her right to experience what she's experiencing. And for her, trust must be earned. Which is a little bit more in the vein, in the line of the larger reading that we did this week. There are times when we, like last week, keep our cards close to the chest. There are times when we disassociate from the people and the environment, because it's either restrictive or it's oppressive or it It's repelling us, or we are repelling it. Like, again, I mentioned in the other video, two magnets of like charge which repel each other. So this is when we move into here, that's when Parthenogenesis becomes a good potential, a good possibility. This is when we start feeling the yes, I can, this is a time for creation here rather than out there. And so, beautifully, the next card was the Hermit, right? The Hermit. What does the Queen do to parthenogenate, to create within, to self-inseminate and gestate? What does she do? She reflects. She gives herself isolation time. She detaches and is okay with that detachment. And she contemplates. She ruminates, she thinks, she observes, she feels. Again, she has a rich inner world. There's so much there for her to use to create. And so the Hermit is reflecting on that. Shedding light on the past, certainly, because that's where we draw some of our internal resources for creation, but also moving towards an unknown future. The Hermit could be backing up towards the future. We don't know exactly where we're going because we haven't arrived at the finished product yet. We're still germinating, we're creating. We don't know what this child is going to grow into being within us. Is it going to be a painting? Is it going to be a house? Is it going to be a song? What is it going to be? Now, it might not be that diverse. Is it going to be a love song? Is it going to be a poetic ballad of adventure? Is it going to be a song of moving through grief? What is the song going to be? And the Hermit is humble. Humility. The Hermit has humility. The Hermit is humble. Carefully self-examines who they are and their place in the world. They have wisdom. They have a secret. And this is the time for allowing it to be a secret. Not entirely hiding, but rather allowing it to be a secret, not moving it out into the public sphere. Now here comes the last card, which is a little bit of a challenging read. Not a challenging meaning, but a challenging read. What does that mean for the lovers? What does that bring us to? It brings us to a choice. Maybe a new union. Maybe joy. A different kind of joy from the Sun card. Here we do have a potential for the two joining, like there are two joining in the Sun card as well. Yeah? We have the potential for two joining here, but a choice needs to be made first. A choice for joy, a choice for love, and maybe a lover. And learning the joy of living. Yeah? This joy of living in the Sun is a little automatic. It's a little bit, well, what else? Here, it's more of a deliberate choice. And loving what you do, as well as who you are and where you are. And a need, again, to disengage from the past. The Hermit learns from the past and then disengages from it. It's not like the Hermit is dragging the past along with them. You learn from the past and then you disengage from past influences so that you can do the parthenogenesis within. And remember, just as the large spread this week gave us advice, small steps are signs of inner desire. We take small steps in the direction of our North Star, in the direction of our Cupid, flying here, directing us, guiding us in the direction we want to move in with the powerful flow of intention. So we do have that one side of moving from, we get our stability. We can move into the King of Cups, which is already an open thing, and then we move into the Sun, which is not the time to do that's not the time of parthenogenesis. However, instead of moving into the Queen, sometimes we need to move into the Queen. Instead of moving into the King, sometimes we need to move into the Queen. Moving into the Queen, we're protected, and then we notice that, okay, I'm here, I'm protected, I'm allowing myself this space, and I recognize the wealth of my inner world. And I recognize that this is the time I'm stable, and this is the time for my inner creation. So I become the hermit. Not hiding from the world, it's just that the world and I are not connected right now. So I embody my inner hermit. Not like I'm running away from anything, it's just that things are not in easy relationship right now, so I allow my hermitness to shine through, to manifest. And I learn from the past, and then I let go of the past in the Lover's card. I reflect on who I am and who I am becoming and who I have become, and that's part of the inner creation, the creation of self that will manifest something in the world, an experience, whatever that is, a house, a relationship, a job, a trip, a creative expression of art in some way. I will manifest. But first, I'm going to gestate within. And then I move into the Lover card. And I'm letting go of the past. I'm learning to choose joy. And this is the point in which we're almost ready to bring that thing we've gestated out into the world. So how do we know when it's time to do it alone? When we don't move into the King after we get our stability, but rather move into the Queen, then the Hermit. That's the flow of Parthenogenesis. Does that make sense? Can you see why I did the reading this way and how it worked out? I'd like to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me, what do you think? Does it make sense? Would you have read it differently? Would you have stopped pulling cards? Would you have not pulled extra cards? Let me know. And let me know what you think of this way of doing a spread. If you haven't done it before, what do you think? If you have done it before, what do you think? Let me know. So friends, if you are still here, hit that thumbs up button so that YouTube knows that you like this video and other people might like it too. It helps bring eyes to the channel. Subscribe also if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. I usually do 2 a week these days. I sometimes do 3, but it looks like there are time constraints for me this semester, so I'm probably going to continue with only 2 a week, so you get notifications. And also comment below. I would really love to hear from you. Also remember, there is a link below if you want to check out this deck and maybe order it yourself. I don't get any compensation. I don't get any money if you do that. It's just for your convenience. And to help promote the creator. I think she's wonderful. And also, there is an email address below. thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. If you want a private reading from me, RWS, Terre de Marseille, whatever, long, short, shoot me an email and we can work it out. I can get you a private reading from me about anything. And so friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.